So for this video, we will be working on the percent formulas practice worksheet. This worksheet is a representation of what you will see on the final. So let's get right to it. Okay, so number one, percent times whole equals part. This is a basic percent formula. And the question asks, what is 20% of 50? So 20% is our percent, 50 is our whole, and they're looking for what the part is. So we have our percent, so we'll go ahead and substitute it in for our formula here. So 20% times the whole, which is 50. Remembering that the number that comes after of is usually the whole, and then what we're solving for is the part. So we'll just leave that as P. 0.20, changing a percentage to a decimal, times 50 equals P. And then you can work on it with scratch paper if you need to. 50 times 0.20 or 0.2 gives you 100, and you'll move your decimal one space. So one space there, and you get a whole number of 10. Okay, so 10 is 20% of 50. I just want to point out that just looking at this problem, you can look at it as a word problem. What is? So is, remember, is stands for an equal sign. So they're asking what is. You don't know what it is. 20% of 50. And if you remember, of means multiply, and change your percent to a decimal. So basically same thing. You can look at it two different ways. Okay, just plug in your values into your percent, or treat it like a word problem. Is means equal sign, of means multiply. Okay, let's look at number 1B. 18 is what percent of 36? You can look at this as a word problem, or just go ahead and use your percent times whole equals part formula again. Over here, I'll write it out as a word problem. So first, our formula. Our percent, we don't know our percent, so I'll just call it N, times our whole. It's the number after of, so 36, equals our part, which is 18. So now we have N times 36 is 36N equals 18. Solve for N. How we'll do that is we'll divide by 36 on both sides. And go ahead and use some scratch paper to figure out 18 divided by 36. 36 can't go into 18, so you'll plot your decimal, and on top of the house as well. 36 goes into 185 times evenly. So you get 0.5. But they're looking for what percent. So 0.5 turned into a percent, move the decimal over two spaces, and you get 50%. Okay, looking at it as a word problem is just 18 is means equal sign. What percent? They're looking for a percent of means what? Multiply 36. So we don't know our percent, so 18 equals N times 36. And if you look over here, it's the same formula or same equation, just changed around a bit, using the commutative property multiplication. Okay, so let's look at number 1C. 16 is 80% of what number? If we use our formula, which you will have the formula given to you on the final, decided that. Percent times whole equals part. Plug in your values. Here we have our percent, so 80% times the whole of what number? We don't know that, so we'll just leave that N. And then the part is 16. So 80% as a decimal is 0.8 or 0.80 times N equals 16. And we have 0.8 N equals 16. Whoops, I started writing below what you could see. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. So I had 0.8 N equals 16. And I need to solve for N. So I will divide by 0.8 on both sides, so I can isolate N. N equals, well, 16 divided by 0.8. And then we're going to divide that. 16 divided by 0.8. And then my decimal is here, so I move it over 1 because you can't have a decimal in your divisor. So I found my whole number of 16. My decimal is here. I move it over 1. And then 8 can go into 16 2 times. And then bring down my 0. And 8 goes into 0 0 times. My decimal is right here. So just make sure you keep that decimal in the right spot. Again, if you have a decimal in your divisor, you find where your whole number is, 16, you move it over 1 spot, put it on top of the house right away. And so 16 is 80% of what number? Well, 16 is 80% of a whole number of 20. Okay, so let's look at number 2. We have a retail price times discount rate equals discount. That's our formula, and we're looking for the discount and the sale price. So long as you guys, I will be giving you the formula on the final. So long as you guys are able to substitute your values in the correct 2 spots here, you guys should be just fine, okay? So our retail price, it says, is $9. So go ahead and fill that in the first spot, times your discount rate. Discount rate is 10%. So 10% equals our discount. So now we have 9 times, turning 10% into a decimal is 0.1 or 0.10. Doesn't matter what you put, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'll put my $sign down there. So remember to put $sign. And then we just multiply 9 times 0.1, and if you guys want to see what that looks like, so 9 times 0.1, like that. So obviously 1 times 9 is 9. Your decimal on your whole number of 9 is after the 9, so you'll move your decimal place 1 time. So start it here, move it over, and you get 0.9. So our discount off of $9 is going to be 90 cents. Okay, 0.9. If you add a 0, 90, 0.9, 0.90, 90 cents. So our discount is 90 cents. And then our sale price, we are going to add, we're going to subtract our discount because we're going to get that nice discount off of our sale price. And our sale price, our retail price is $9. So if you have to pay $9 and you take, you subtract 90 cents from that, you're going to pay $8.10. So that is our sale price. Okay, here's another formula with markup and cost. So again, plugging in the correct values into the correct spots here. So our cost is $25 times our markup rate, and our markup rate is 20%, equals our markup. We can just label that MU. So we have 25 times, turning 20% to a decimal, 0.20 or 0.2, equals our markup. And then 25 times 0.2 is 50. And then let's count back our decimal spots, 1 spot. So boom, right there, 5.0. So our markup is going to be $5, a whole number of $5. We're going to mark up $5. And then what's the new retail price? Well, our cost was $25. And if we add our markup to that, we're going to get $30, right? So $25 plus our markup, $5, $30. Okay, let's look at number 4. We're looking at tips, giving someone a tip. And so we have our tip formula here. And again, go ahead and plug in the values into the right spot and you should have no problem. So our bill is $40.20 and our tip rate is 15%. So again, percent, you see this percent sign here, that'll tip you off as to, no pun intended, as to where to put the percent. So we have 15% times your total bill, which is $40.20, equals your tip. Okay, so 0.15, changing 15% to a decimal, times 40.20. Remembering to put a $sign down here. Remember, it's a dollar amount. So now we're going to multiply $40.20 times 0.15, and do this carefully so you get the right answer. So then we get 0, 10, 20, and we get 0, 2, 0, 4. So 6. Well, we got to figure out where our decimal is. So we have these two decimals here. We count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. So $6.03 is our tip. Okay, looking at number 5. Again, given your formula, make sure to plot your amounts in the right spot on your formula. So you have percent change equals the amount of change. The amount of change is the difference between 10 and 13. So you can subtract them, or you can count how many are in between. So the amount between 10 and 13 is 3. Okay, you can say 13 minus 10 is 3. Just look at the difference between your original amount and your new amount. So 3 goes on the top because that is the amount of change between your two values. The original amount is 10. Make sure you put the original amount, not the new amount. Original amount goes in the denominator. And now you will divide 3 divided by 10. Plotting your decimal right away, adding your annex 0. 10 goes into 33 times, and you get 0.3. So they want a percent change, though. We were looking for a percent change. So turning our decimal to a percent, move it over 2 times, and we get 30%. Let's look at this last one on interest. Again, so long as you are able to match up your values into the right slots, you should be just fine. So interest equals principal times rate times time. Interest equals principal times rate times time in years. So our principal is going to be our amount borrowed. Okay, so $500 or loaned. And then our rate is going to be our percent here. And our percent is going to have to be written as a decimal, 0.09. And then you will take your amount in time, which is 2 years. Okay, so then go ahead and multiply that carefully. 500 times 0.09 and 0, 0, and 45. 0, 0, 0. If we count back our decimals, 1, 2, can't do anything there. 1, 2, 45. Times 2, and our interest equals $90. So they will pay an additional $90 on this $500 loan. So our interest owed is $90.